Welcome to the Rocket Rewind, the show where we get together and talk about things that matter, things that are interesting, and shit that might just blow your mind. Yeah, they're our opinions, and you don't have to like them. We might not like yours either, but feel free to share them in the live chat. This is America, where we have free speech, cancel culture, Karens and Darrens, all working together in such super sweet harmony. Yeah, right. Sometimes the things we talk about might help restore our faith in humanity, but all too often it's going to be stuff that might piss you off like it does us. Make sure you have your grown-up panties on and come join the conversation. Oh yeah, and make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications. You don't want to miss this weekly dose of provocative discussion. The Rocket Rewind, Sundays at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Let's get into it. Viewer discretion is advised.
What up?
Hey, everybody.
Happy Sunday.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
It is that time of the week again where we get together as a group of fellas and talk shit about shit.
Yeah. Stupid shit.
Yeah, stupid shit, real shit, horrible shit. Sometimes good shit.
Sometimes.
Unfortunately, with the state of the world, it's mostly horrible shit.
Bad shit.
It's horrible. So how's everybody's week been?
It's been slow for me, at least. Yeah.
Well, work-wise, I have not been nearly as busy as I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we discussed my work before we went live. I don't want to talk about
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I had a liver biopsy, so mine wasn't the greatest.
Yeah. You got the results back yet?
No, it'd take a couple weeks.
Hopefully it's good news.
Yeah.
So Hoff says it's just started, so hard to say not knowing. Well, I kind of meant the week that ended.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of look at Sundays as the beginning of the week. Because working in retail like I always did, that's kind of how our pay periods ran, was from Sundays to Saturdays, and it's just habit, you know. Anyway, so let's do a quick run through the chat then, see who we got. Of course, we got Steve, who's also on the panel with us. We got Mr. Wizard coming in from Australia down there. What's up, Wiz? Good to see you. We got Hoff in the house. P. Hoffman Gaming's over here. Good to see you, Hoff. Megan D. Gaming's here. Hello, Megan. Good to see you. There's Stacy. Stacy's a guy gaming right there. He's on panel with us as well.
That's me.
Yeah. Gaming with Eric Voice. What's up? I see Brooklyn with Emergency Response Vids. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Jamie H. is here. How you doing, Jamie? Sharkman's here. What's up, Shark? How you been? Brooklyn says he missed a 5 police car response on Saturday when an officer pressed his panic button. Oh yeah, well,
man,
it's hard to catch them all, man. I tell you, I was on my way home with some food today and heard them calling about a lady. It was only 9 minutes from me. She had called 911 crying and said that she had intruders in her home, and then the line disconnected and they were sending cops everywhere. So I don't know what happened there, but I had to choose between that and my Chinese food.
The Chinese food tastes even better cold.
I chose my Chinese food, unfortunately. So
sometimes you just got to get that out of the way.
So Adam, look, we'll just give me and Steve some time. We'll get them right. Don't worry.
There's Adam in the chat. He's also on the panel with us. There is Taylor Ray Werewolves Esport. What's going on, Taylor? Good to see you. Welcome to the stream there, buddy. So unfortunately, we have, as you can tell from the title of this, our topic is going to be all these damn shootings that have been happening. There have been shootings every week for a while, it seems like, and sometimes multiple in 1 week. And they're happening in large places, small places, just nobody's immune to it, right? And so I wanted to kind of start off covering one of them that happened in Louisville, Kentucky. It's pretty nuts. One of the officers gets shot as soon as they run up. And he had just graduated the academy. This happened on April the 10th. And he had just graduated the academy on August the 31st.
Yeah. He understood his assignment, though.
Yes. Jorge, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. So let's pull that one up first. This is a body cam footage. Let me pull this one up. This is straight from the Louisville Metro Police Department. Let's get her on the screen. There we go. Now this is graphic. It's 9 minutes worth. There's a couple of different body camera angles, but I want you to get a feel for how crazy this scene was when the first two officers got on scene. Now, just to bring you up to speed, there were I believe 4 people that were killed on scene and 1 that died later.
Yeah.
I was going to pull their names real quick here. So the ones who died on scene was Joshua Barrick, 40 years old, Thomas Elliott, 63 years old, Juliana Farmer, 45 years old, James Tutt, 64 years old, and then later in the day, Dina Eckert, 57 years old, passed away. This was at, what was the name of the bank? I'm drawing a blank.
Something.
It was a bank.
I can't remember either.
Shit. It's at 333 East Main Street, but I'm drawing a blank on the actual name of the.
Hang on, I got you.
Of the bank now. I had it in my mind just a minute ago, and now I've forgotten about it.
Here, I got you.
That's what happens when you get older, boys and girls. You start forgetting shit. So don't be ashamed to keep notes.
Old National Bank.
Yeah.
Old National. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Well,
Old National.
This guy that did the shooting was a former employee.
I don't know if it's a good thing that it's on Zillow or not, but.
And anyway, this is rough to watch. So if you're squeamish and don't want to see a shooting scene, then you might want to come back and see us in just a minute. But we're going to take a peek at it. This is where it occurred, corner of East Main and South Preston Street. I like how they have the Google images on there so you can kind of see exactly where it's at. So here's the quick timeline. 8:38, officers are dispatched. 8:41, officers arrive on scene. They hear shots as they pull up. At that same time, subject fires on officers, and then a minute later, fires on officers again. A couple of minutes later, the subject fires at officers, and officers begin returning fire. And then at 8:45, officers make entry confirming that the suspect is down. So in less than 10 minutes from the time dispatched to the suspect was neutralized in this one. So quick response, of course, from that police department. But unfortunately, one officer did get shot and is in critical condition. These are still shots from the surveillance camera.
Is that a kid?
He's 25, I think.
Yeah, he was in his 20s. So here comes the body cam footages.
Oh, shit.
Pull up.
Go. Stop right here. Back up.
This is the body camera
Damn.
officer that gets shot, and I think he's doing his field training with the guy that's giving him direction.
Yeah, the other officer was a field training officer. He'd been on the force since either 2008 or 2018. 2018.
So I have a question
Yes.
for both Onyx and Adam. So you both were in law enforcement, right?
Yes.
All right. So here's my question: if you're the FTO, who's more nervous here? Like in this sense, the FTO because he's responsible for 2 people, or the new guy because he's new?
To be honest, I would just be focused on the job.
Yeah.
He probably more than likely was. I mean,
Yeah, I don't want to say nervous, but like, is there more pressure on you though? Like as far as doing the job when you're responsible for making sure that someone else does the job right, like does what they're supposed to do to stay alive?
Well, most police departments will. There's a lot of partner patrolling done nowadays, and so a lot of the training goes into your mindset is to protect your life and the life of your fellow officers who are your partners. So it's kind of a hand in hand, type deal. But I imagine they're both shitting bricks about now in different ways.
But I'll point out they did respond correctly though, because if you notice, the guy with the long gun runs up first, and that is the first guy you want in. You want that long gun in first, and the other guy behind him, I think, just had his pistol.
Well, and I'd heard a couple of people say, why did they drive right up on the scene like that? And the reason for that. Well, yeah, that, but you also, if you're on foot trying to approach, you are an easier target.
Okay.
Because even if somebody shoots at this car while you're in it, if a bullet strikes glass, it could ricochet off and maybe not come directly at you. It can change the trajectory of that bullet. Same thing with it hitting the car. It can change the trajectory of the bullet. So getting as close as you can before you become an open target is the safest bet. So that's why they're rolling up as soon as they can, but they got a little closer than I think they realized they were going to be. That's why they're backing off to reposition and rethink.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
No, I was just curious. That's...
Well, another reason is too, like if he was coming out of the bank and say he stepped out on that sidewalk, I wouldn't even draw my gun. I'd just hit the gas. And that's what we were trained to do, because you don't have time to pull everything out, stop the car, unbuckle, get out, get on target, and start firing. So you just hit the gas, and you basically use your car as your weapon. To end the threat. So.
Now there was some staircases here. There was some. They wouldn't have been able to run up on this fella, but had it been ground level,
like if he'd been running down them steps and out on that curb. I'd hop the curb and run his ass over.
Probably send his ass right up over the hood.
Yep. Sorry to interrupt. I was just curious.
No problem.
No.
Stop right there. Stop. Open the trunk.
Now I can put myself in this new officer's position right here, and he is scared shitless.
Oh yeah.
He is scared shitless right now because you can prepare for this in training all you want to. But until you're in it for the first time,
they're not like it.
There is an adrenaline rush. There is there's a shortness of breath that you start getting. Your heart is pounding. You're in fear for your life. I mean, it's just that simple.
That adrenaline dump is insane.
Yeah.
And I think in 5 years I had it happen to me one time, and it is wild how your body naturally reacts to a huge adrenaline dump.
Yeah.
But it's self-preserving itself.
And this body camera footage, this is Officer Wilt, who is the new officer, and he is the one that gets struck by gunfire.
What are the odds of that happening? A brand new guy on the force, which is his first day.
I don't think it was his first day on the street, but he had just graduated the academy or or he just finished up training or whatever, or the academy
Wow.
on the 31st.
And he's the guy that's in critical now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus, dude. Oh my
He got
God.
shot in the head.
Yeah, he got
Shot
hit
in the head?
Mhm.
Good Lord.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, 13 Baker rocks, and we do have shot fires.
We're making entry from the
He actually sounded surprisingly calm right there to me.
Yeah.
So he's in a decent headspace right now. His thought process is there are people hurting there that need our help.
Yeah.
Same thing with this field training officer. You know, their trip over there, or they're worrying about themselves, and then the moment they get there, it goes into job mode, and they're in protector mode.
Well, and I think the
from the east
glass on
side.
that bank hindered them pretty good bit. That
Yeah,
mirror glass.
It did. That glass entryway fucked them up. So, I mean, well, for one thing, it's huge exposure.
Yeah.
They're always tinted. You know, you always can see better from the inside out those than you can from the outside in, and so this is an extremely dangerous entryway for them to walk up to.
Yep. Because as soon as they top them steps, they get it. They start taking around.
Now, this is the field training officer.
Yeah.
Hold it, cover for me.
And he's doing a good job. That field training officer is doing a good job. He's giving clear directions to the new guy. You know, hold cover.
He's been very calm as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a real good job.
113 Baker, we're making entry from the east side at Preston and Main.
So right there is where the new officer goes down. He I don't know that this officer was struck.
I think he just tripped.
Yeah, I think he tripped over himself.
Oh, okay.
Officer. God damn it!
He can't get a shot.
The shooter has an angle on that officer. We need to get up there. I don't know where he's at. The glass is blocking him.
So at this point, are they like silencing radio traffic? At this point?
Oh yeah, they'll hold the area on something like this.
Yeah, they went.
Nobody's doing nothing but driving to get there.
Yeah, and that would mean. And would that mean that only those on, like, only these two on scene are allowed to talk?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know what radio code they use for it here, but we didn't hear that part before it started. But here in Huntsville, it's 10-3. You know, which is hold all radio traffic.
That's what it is here.
You know.
Like,
yeah, that's a pretty common one. I think in some places it's 10-33. But it's 10-3 here in Huntsville.
He's fishing to get his shot though.
Yeah.
He makes it count. You hear his breath?
I mean, what's going through his head right now, you know?
He sounds like he's running a marathon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, what's going through his head is he needs to stick his head.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds dumb, but I mean, if he shoots out all the glass, eventually you'll get a shot on him, right?
Eventually.
He's shooting straight through these windows, right towards the officer. We need to be able to plate somehow to be able to get there and pull him down from the stairs.
He's in a little nook.
Yeah.
The vestibule.
He had a good little hidey hole in there. You'll see when they get entry in here.
Yeah. Because he can see out those windows and see out the
blue talking.
windows if this cop is trying to look at him.
God, don't have an angle.
Got him right there.
I think I got him down. I think he's down. Yank the left off now. Yank him down the stairs.
I like that. I mean, I hate that was necessary, but first thing on his mind after he got the guy down was get him down the stairs.
Yep.
Yeah. He's doing very good situational awareness too.
Yeah.
You know.
I think he's down. Yeah, suspect down. Get the officer. Huh? Oh no, he's down. Get the officer.
How the shit did he see him?
See where he's at.
Dude.
He's behind this wall right here. You can see out there.
Yeah, how did he see through all that though? That's my question.
Yeah.
Now this bystander video doesn't really show a whole lot, other than you can see when they first top the staircase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you can see that's where the shots are fired right there, and he drops and rolls out of the way.
I thought he actually got shot. I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't get
He did
shot,
a very good job.
but
I'm trying to figure. Jesus, I'm not a bad shot, but I wouldn't be able to make that shot like through that. Jesus.
Yeah, it was a hard shot to make. That was a hard building to enter.
Yeah, he had some optics on that weapon. He turned them on as he got it out.
Hoff said he might have seen the muzzle flash as well. Because he did fire at him right after he fired.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can see he's still firing.
Mm-hmm.
Now this person, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, when I saw this part of the video, I'm thinking, holy fuck, why are they standing on the sidewalk? And then I can see the glare and realize they're inside a building across the street. Because my thought process is, I'd be goddamn if I'm gonna be standing. And that's actually a horrible angle for this person to be at, because they could have got shot.
Yeah,
like on something like this, if I was to video any kind of scene like this, I would be videoing it from the side,
so
not straight on.
what I'm liking here is that I have not. So I've only seen this right here from news outlets, which means that video was only given to, because I just reactivated my Facebook and I haven't seen that on Facebook, which means the person didn't upload it to Facebook. They just gave it to the police department.
Probably so. Yeah. This is from the Metro Louisville Police Department's official YouTube page here. But like I said, there were 4 people that were killed on scene. One lady died a little later in the day. The officer that was shot was in critical condition, and I haven't seen any update or change to that. So I believe he's still in critical condition. Just to show you who these officers are, I clicked the wrong button just then.
Yeah, they did an awesome job.
They did release on their Twitter page, Officer Nicholas Wilt right here on the left.
10 days out of the police academy.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
he's the one that got shot, right?
yes. And Officer Corey C.J. Galloway on the right. Galloway is a training officer and has been in since 2018. This is the officer who was struck in the head and is in critical condition. And the one that was pretty much taking command of the scene is Officer Galloway here. This man saved people's lives right there. Because without him staying as focused as he did, that guy could have continued in that building shooting other people or bystanders or other officers. And so he saved lives that day.
So what was the motivation for this guy to go in the bank, start shooting? Was it a robbery or attempted
No,
robbery or something like
I
that?
think it was a workplace.
They said he was a former employee, and then his family said that he suffered from some mental issues.
Illness.
Yes.
Yeah. He was a graduate from. I'm not even gonna say it.
Yeah, he graduated from University of Alabama.
Yeah.
And used to work
I don't
for
know
them.
about that, Wiz.
So let's see. We got Southpaw came in. What's up, Southpaw? Ace had came in. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Who else did I miss? Anthony, Jorge. How y'all doing? Treehouse 67. Christopher Whitaker. What's going on? Another shooting in Glenwood South in Raleigh. Is that happening right now?
I'll look it up.
Dang.
To answer
Zachary
Mr.
Best.
Wiz's question, yes.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If the feds are because it's immediately the word bank means the feds can have jurisdiction if they want.
It's FDIC, Federal Depository.
Yep.
Hold on. So
I'm looking right now. March 19th at
I see Clinton, New York. I see Clinton, New York. Multiple police responding to Hamilton College in Clinton, New York. Shelter-in-place order. There's an armed assailant in the Kerner Johnson building on campus. Raw's Alerts is usually pretty good about grabbing these immediate things. But yeah, I'm not seeing it yet.
I'm looking here. Here, I got you.
You said WRAL.
Look in the private.
All right, here we go. Wake County News. Police respond after gunfire at apartments in Glenwood South in Raleigh. Early Sunday evening. It was reported just after 6:30. So it was an hour ago, our time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
At 450 North Street. It's a 7-story apartment building. Let's see. Police were searching the apartment. CBS 17 journalist at the scene said there were bullet holes in the building. One person was seen on a stretcher. Several units are visible. North Street is now closed at North Boyline Avenue. All right.
If you scroll down, there's a video.
Oh, shit. My bad, Hoff. I didn't know you guys could hear that.
No, it's not.
Scroll down.
It's probably an advertisement, man.
I don't see a video. Where are you seeing a video at there, Steve?
If you scroll all the way down, well, about 3/4 of the way down the page.
Oh, right here.
Yep, keep on scrolling.
Wait, that says of a crash scene.
Yep, keep on scrolling. Right there. That's it.
This says crash scene.
Crashing. What? Oh shit! Yeah, never mind. Scratch that.
Well, no, I mean I didn't even see these down there, but yeah, this is like a different story they got going. So they it doesn't look like they've updated anything else.
It's still
it was updated 3 minutes ago. So yeah, it's still a fresh scene. Raw's Alerts is not even listing anything on it yet, and he's pretty quick about getting this stuff out there.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Which you're sorry about what?
I didn't realize my mic was that sensitive, and it was picking up.
It was picking up reverie. Yeah,
it was picking up reverie, and then.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Mr. Wizard says somebody called the cavalry. Oh, Lord have mercy. Hey, Sean Chasson, what's going on? Stu Dorman, what's up? So this Christopher, thanks for pointing that out. This brings me to my point. My whole point of this show tonight is what the fuck is going on with all these shootings, man? Why are we having so many right now? Well, I mean, what the hell?
I'm going to go with the degraded society.
Yeah.
You know, we're in an all-time low for belief in religion and Christianity in this country. So I think a lot of that kind of goes hand in hand. You know, the people have lost their morality and their values. Nobody values life anymore.
Exactly.
That's why all these kids are killing each other. You know, it's not adults killing teenagers; it's teenagers killing teenagers.
Yeah.
Well,
if you want a mass shooting, you can just look at Chicago every weekend.
Well, and that's the thing.
20 of them shot last weekend.
Right. That's the thing. You know, one of the first things you hear when these kind of things happen is gun control, gun control, gun control. Right.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that the politicians start talking about. Problem with that is
only person that's going to affect is us.
You know,
illegal gun holders.
Well, but exactly. Do you know that guns are illegal in Chicago?
Yeah.
And it sure as hell ain't stopping the shooting problem there.
That's crazy. Criminals don't follow the law.
There was videos from last night where groups of teenagers, were dragging people out of their cars in Chicago and fucking robbing them. And stealing their shit and tearing up their cars and setting them on fire. Teenagers. So if we're going to talk about like gun violence, we also need to talk about where the fuck the parents are.
Yeah.
And why the system even has to get involved when the parents should be parenting.
And Jamie and Hoff have some good input on that. Jamie says not just religion, but the value of life. Like you said, nobody can see how great life is. But then Hoff hits it here. He blames digital parenting over the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not much younger than you guys, but like I'm a little bit younger than you guys. And me dating, most of the women I date, hey Taylor, most of the women I date have kids. They have little kids. And the minute I see a mother just give her kid an iPad and tell her kid to go on, like I don't want to. Yeah, like I'm not interested.
Well, my sister has 2 kids, 3 kids. Sorry.
Yeah.
She has a 15-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And the 9-year-old don't get a phone. She doesn't get a phone until she starts driving, and that's only because they want to keep up with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like she has an iPad, but she has to use it in front of them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not that they're like, I don't want to pay attention to you. Let me let the iPad watch you.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, like, all right, so my grandson is 3 years old and he loves dinosaur videos, right? So we have an old iPhone. It's one of the old ones too, like the series 4 or 5 or something. It's a little short one, you know?
Yeah.
And we let him watch dinosaur videos and stuff on it, right? However, if he's given an option between playing outside or watching his phone, he's going to choose to play outside. He likes to be doing something, but he also likes to learn, right? And so he is 3 years old and can tell you the names of dinosaurs when you show him a picture of them. And he can tell you if they're a herbivore, a carnivore, or an omnivore. And can tell you what those mean at 3 years old, right? He loves learning about dinosaurs. So there's a fine line you got to be real careful with when it comes to electronics. You can't let the electronics raise the kid. You've got to encourage them to do other things and to play other things. There's a lot of other fucking toys you can get for your kids besides electronics. And I love electronics. I'm an electronic tech guy. I love gadgets. But when it comes to kids, if you can keep that passion in them to play outside and to use their imagination and play in their room with their play kitchens and their play grills and, that kind of stuff, it's.
Well, and I think another good point to that is I think government is trying to get way too involved with how people parent.
Yeah.
Because for one instance at the border, they say it's inhumane to separate kids from people that they can't even prove are really their parents. But then you got a law passed in Washington State where if you don't agree to the transition of your child, the state can now remove your child from your home.
Yeah, that's a joke.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
and
that's
going with that.
Well, that's the thing, right? I'm fine with government having a hand in making sure children are protected,
right?
Protected physically,
and
those
laws are
emotionally,
there.
I guess. But
those laws are there.
But we're starting to let the government do a little bit more than they need to, right? And people don't realize it, but we're slowly they're slowly scraping away little bits and bits of our rights, including parental rights.
Sean literally just said something about it.
Yeah, spread rights for the child.
The last thing you want to hear is, "Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
Yeah, that's right, Jamie.
That's one of Ronald Reagan's famous sayings. What's the scariest word you could hear?
Right.
Because I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I totally agree with Sean here because I'm going to tell you, I feel like if there was a little bit more ass whipping going on in people's house when these kids acted up, when they became adults, they would learn that there's consequences for their actions.
Yes.
Because right now we live in this throwaway society. There's no consequences. It don't matter if you break something. Everything's so fucking cheaply made now. It's going to break anyway. Just go buy a new one. Oh, if you ain't getting along with your wife, that's okay. Go fuck somebody else and divorce your wife. It's not important. There's plenty of other women out there.
Nobody's taught how to deal with shit.
Right.
Nobody's taught how to reason and think through problems. They're just taught to run from them.
Yeah,
right.
It's somebody else's fault.
My favorite thing I've ever read online is the internet's got too many people too comfortable with saying what they want and not getting their ass whooped.
Right.
And I'm not saying beat the shit. I'm not saying beat the shit out of someone. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like repercussions for your actions. There's no repercussions anymore.
Well, because especially like the keyboard warriors and the people that get on their Instagrams or whatever, and they are horrible to other people and degrade other people and bully other people and stuff. When really what they need to do is be caught in a back alley somewhere and have their fucking teeth knocked out. I mean, when we were growing up,
people had problems. They duke it out and shake hands.
Yeah. When we were growing up, that was the thing. You did. You learned to respect other human beings.
I'm not saying I agree with fighting, but I do agree with all right, let's see who's tougher. Oh shit, you are tougher. All right, I'll leave you.
And I think there's times that a little fist fight is needed. It gets the aggression out without anybody being seriously injured.
We don't pull guns out.
Yeah,
we
didn't show up with guns and knives. Exactly, Adam. We didn't show up with guns and knives. It was, I'll catch your ass in the bathroom on lunch break, and we're gonna duke it out. I mean, I didn't get in a lot of fights in school. I got along well with a lot of people, all different groups of people, right? But I had a few run-ins here and there, and I got in a few physical little scuffles and stuff. And every one of them that I got into, when it was done, it was done.
Yeah.
That was it.
No, and Jamie, just to be clear, I'm not saying whip your kid in every instance.
Oh yeah, no.
I don't think that's the answer either. There's just certain times where certain actions deserve an ass whooping. Yeah. They deserve a belt.
Yeah, I agree. But there needs to be, I think there needs to be more punishment and responsibility at home in general.
And that's the thing. Look at most of these ones that I'm not going to say all of them, but the ones that we've covered, the one in Nashville, how old were they? Like 20 something?
28-year-old.
Yeah. And then this guy right here was 25.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
well,
God knows, I don't think they've disclosed. Oh, it was a 16-year-old in Dadeville.
Well,
Yeah,
there was
and
a study done too.
we're gonna pull up some video on Dadeville too in a minute. What were you saying,
Did you
Adam?
see that one? Did you see that one I sent you?
I did. I
I don't
want
know if you want to show it, but I sent it to you because it shows that, you know, everybody's talking about an AR, but I can promise you, I personally think in a shooting situation, I would be more deadly with a pistol than an AR. Just my opinion. I've had a lot more practice with a pistol, and I could probably do a lot of damage real quick with a pistol.
So
And just for the record, the deadliest school shooting in America was at Virginia Tech, and he used 2 pistols, and he killed 32 people, 90% of them with headshots. So
I've actually said the same thing as Christopher Whitaker here, that a lot of this, I'm not blaming COVID. I'm not blaming the pandemic for this. But a lot of people, like, something has snapped in their head, being either stuck in their house or not being able to do their everyday life that they were used to for so long, you know?
Well, and I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. I mean,
no, I mean, like, I think parents, even during COVID, kind of let the computer raise their kid. Like, did they really check their homework? Were they really doing what they were supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, you could do a week's work. Like, in some of the school systems, they could do a week's worth of work in one day and be done for the whole week and play games for the other 6 days.
My youngest daughter graduated from the virtual academy here. Well, she graduated. She technically completed all the requirements in December. She's going to actually walk in May and get her diploma, but she's technically graduated already. Because she was able to do that. She was able to do lesson after lesson after lesson.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I do notice a difference in her when she has nothing to do. I think that a lot of this kids not having shit to do is a bad idea too, right?
Yeah.
So I find, I've been finding random shit needs to be done around here just to keep her ass busy. You know,
well, and that's a good thing. Well, you know, kids, you know, like the development of the brain goes from 25. That there are different studies, but some say 25, some say all the way to 30. So if you can learn and learn and learn and learn and keep your mind busy,
right?
Then I mean, there's so much more you can do in life.
Yeah,
you know, and be smart.
I am.
Her graduating makes me feel old, by the way.
Dude, how about the fact that my youngest is now 18 years old? Yeah, that's my youngest kid. My caboose is 18 years old. She is now in Alabama. It's 19 before you're really an adult as far as being able to sign contracts and shit. But I mean, she's basically an adult. So I have no children anymore. I mean, I have offsprings. I have young adults. I have offsprings, but they're not children anymore.
I thought I felt old. My firstborn will go into double digits this year, and I was like, oh god.
Hey, Sean. Hey, Sean. Look, I got something for you. Hold on. Look.
Oh, I know what he got.
Look,
I was right.
Look. I got something for you. Wow, Jamie's youngest just turned 15. Yep. It creeps up on us. But I mean, I really think that it goes back to the house. It goes back to how you're raised. And I also think that we've become so desensitized because we do see so much stuff online and remotely that it's almost like it's not real, like life is not real. That was especially for you, Sean. Especially
I used a good pen on that.
But yeah, it's one of those things where we've become desensitized. You know, religion or a belief in a higher power is not there with a lot of people anymore, which then also trickles down to there's no eternal consequences. There's no consequences at all for people's actions, because it's just, it's sad. It's sad.
You know, I think one of the best things that could happen to a child that's in like juvenile detention or something like that, that's going down that road, is to put them with a police officer that has to go to a house and do a death notification to a family member. Because that is the hardest thing. That is the hardest thing you will ever deal with.
Yeah.
To tell somebody their child's not coming home.
Yeah.
It is gut wrenching, and you're supposed to stand there and hold your shit together. And it is absolutely hard. So,
yeah.
I mean,
I'll tell you, when I was in 5th grade, I learned. So I was a little badass kid. Shocking. When I was in 5th grade, I was in this program in Columbus, Georgia called Project Rebound. It's where if you got suspended for more than 10 days, they recommended you go there, or for more than 5 days, they recommended you go there. They took us to the juvenile detention center for like 2 hours, and it scared the living shit out of me.
Yeah.
And then when I was 14, y'all know that story about how I got arrested and got off easy with 8 hours of community service, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, this is like legit. Yeah.
and then my other thing too that I think is playing into this is mental health, and mental. I think a lot of people are suffering with mental health issues, and mental health issues are more widely accepted and treatable now than they have ever been.
But I also hate the fact that they're using that as an excuse.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be an excuse, because mental health help is more readily available now than it ever has been, and it's also more of society we don't look at those folks as outcasts and less thans like people used to in the past. We understand it's an issue. We understand they need help, and the help is there. These folks just aren't getting it for themselves. Their family can try to get it for them all they want to, but it's always going to come down to the individual.
Yeah.
It's just like an alcoholic or a drug addict. You can try to do interventions on them all you want to and force them into rehabs, but until they decide to do it for themselves, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and so I've got my oldest sister's, like, she's been diagnosed crazy. Like, she's manic depressive bipolar, and she has extreme highs and very extreme lows. But when she's on her extreme high, she'll be up for weeks. You'll think she's on drugs, and she's just not going to sleep because her body's just not letting her because of her chemical imbalance. But they've done studies on her at UAB because she's so bad. But when you go to a probate judge to try to get something done, it is like jumping through a million hoops. It is the hardest shit to get done. And even from being prior law enforcement, like, just a 72-hour hold on her is not enough. Her medication's not even in her system good on a mandatory 72-hour hold. So a judge will not commit her, though. They'll just do the 72-hour hold and kick her back out.
And I don't know what the magic fix is, which is one reason why I kind of wanted to talk about it, put a bunch of heads together out there. But I definitely don't think that forced gun control is going to be the thing or not.
It's not.
No.
Because
nobody's
got one person.
Nobody's going to give their guns up.
No, they're not. You got one person that's going to step out of the line, and they're going to do a mass shooting, and so what are they going to do? You're going to punish all the law-abiding citizens, because of one jackass? That's not how it works, because criminals don't follow the law anyway. So why would you put more sanctions on the people who follow the law that it actually doesn't pertain to? That makes no sense. But that's how they think. So
I'm personally fine with holding parents accountable.
To
securing their firearms away from their children.
Yeah.
Like if they do a mass shooting and like they went in their parents' room and got their gun because it's easily accessible. Like the mother whose 6-year-old took a gun to school and shot his teacher. They charged her.
Well, and should have.
Fine with that.
They should have, because in a way, not securing your firearms is it's irresponsible. But in a way, I believe
it's facilitating.
True, but I also believe it's endangering your child.
Yeah.
Because even if they don't take it to school and shoot a teacher,
Yeah.
they could easily shoot themselves.
Yeah.
And
but
so
we watched that video of that 3-year-old.
Yeah, that was out on that patio or whatever staircase
and
at
he
their
was,
apartment.
And he
Good
was
thing that
putting
gun
it to
wasn't
his
loaded.
head, pulling the trigger. You know, I mean, it's just.
I mean,
that's scary.
We
Which
just
he got charged too, but you should have.
Yeah.
But Denzel Washington gave an interview one time. They were trying to. It was kind of a race question, and he shut that shit down so well. And he said it starts at home. You know, they are asking about, and it was about the Tamir Rice case. And he said, well, a cop shouldn't have to be scared of a 13-year-old, but there's little yummies running around Chicago. And he said, if you don't know what a little yummy is, look it up. And little yummy was an 11-year-old gangbanger who killed people when he was 11 years old in Chicago. He said cops shouldn't have to fear kids. But the reality is, it starts at home, and parents are not parenting. He said, if the system gets involved, it's already too late.
Hypothetical situation, Adam. You were in law enforcement. You came across a situation like that where a kid had a gun.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you take that kid out? And let's say the kid's pointing a gun at you, or he's, whatever. Let's say it's a 12-year-old. That person would be old enough to know how to use a handgun. I mean, is that something that you do as a law enforcement officer?
Like sitting here thinking about it, I would love to say no. But in a situation where you have to naturally react to it,
everybody goes home.
Would. Yeah,
right.
I probably would. And I can tell you actually a case that happened at our department where he didn't have a firearm, but he was a 14-year-old that come running down a hallway of a single wide trailer. So it's pretty narrow. Well, he come down the hallway at one of our corporals with a hatchet. And the corporal tased him, right?
There you go.
Now, it worked. The taser worked, but what if it hadn't?
If it hadn't worked, that corporal would be either critically injured or dead.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this. One of the reasons I am no longer in law enforcement is because of this question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's an important question.
It is.
It is.
And I can tell you that when I was in law enforcement, had I been put in a situation where I had to choose between my life and the life of an armed teenager, I would have chosen my life, and I would have had to shoot that teenager.
That's the thing. Is like,
and that's tough, man.
How do you?
Well,
how do you do that and then go home and look at your own kid?
That would be the hardest thing in the world. But more cops kill themselves every year than are actually killed in the line of duty.
Yeah.
The job is very stressful, and that would
be
one of those that might be one of those things that push a cop over the edge that he killed a kid.
Exactly.
Like that, there was you remember a couple of years, it might have been last year or year before, where that Chicago police officer shot that 14-year-old in the stomach that was running from him, and he was pulling the gun to dump it.
Yep.
But he shot him, and he had to shoot him. And he sat down on the curb and literally lost his shit, crying about it. Like, it's not something you ever want to do.
No.
But in reality,
sometimes you have to.
You just don't. Yeah. And I would hate to be in his position. Hate it.
Oh, me too.
It was one of the and that's probably one of the hardest calls you'll ever go to. That and actually a crime against a child. Like, you can let like assholes roll off your back like water off a duck's back, but anything to do with a kid is traumatizing to a police officer.
Yeah.
Because the majority of police officers are fathers too.
Yeah.
And I've seen that firsthand. And I've seen grown, big 6'6" guys walk out of a trailer bawling their eyes out because a kid was dead in the living room.
Well, look at I mean, police officers are human beings too, and I think a lot of times people forget that. But you can also look at these big ass burly biker gang types, right, that are out there that do all these rides for kids, and if kids are bullied or whatever, they will escort them to school. There's and they break down over stuff like that. Even these big tough guys will will lose their shit when it's something that involves a kid.
I mean, there's stuff that I've seen that I'll never talk about just because I can't.
I don't want to relive it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't keep my shit together.
Yeah.
I mean, it just bothers you.
And that is part of the reason why I decided to take a different route as opposed to law enforcement was because mentally I had already seen enough shit in the short time I was with the department that I knew there was going to be even worse shit. And I've seen dead kids when I was with the sheriff's department. And when you have to be the one that removes a dead teenager from a car accident to try to render aid until the volunteer fire department EMS can get there, that shit don't leave you ever. And I just knew that there was going to come a time where enough of that was going to be piled up on me where I wouldn't be able to handle it. And so I did choose to leave law enforcement. And that's one reason why, you know, when we talk about these things that involve officers making mistakes, you know, it's very rarely will you ever hear me say that somebody that an officer is a shitty human being. I think we will review some things on here where they've made some mistakes. And we will sometimes run across some things where they are shitty human beings. But you can't, people can't use that blanket cops are assholes thing because just like Adam said, most of the time when a police officer comes on a scene, they're there to protect people, to help people, but they're going to also have to protect themselves and their fellow officers. And that is becoming such a gray, squiggly line now, you know, on what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, what becomes criminal, what's not criminal, what's excessive force, what's not excessive force. And I think a lot of that is very subjective. And so, you know, going back to our original video that we looked at with this shooting in Louisville, these two officers, when they got that call on the radio, they knew their life was in danger once they responded to that call. But they also knew other people's lives were in danger. And they went anyway. And that's the one thing that I think a lot of people forget when these bitch sessions about cops start is, you know, it's easy to focus on the bad, but one of these officers is in critical condition because he ran straight towards this gunfire to try to help people. And
I remember one of my shit, and I'll share this one because this one was not as bad as some of the gruesome one. But I remember I had to go take a report of a child abuse of a 9-month-old whose mom's boyfriend was 19 years old, punched this baby in the mouth because it wouldn't quit crying. And the pacifier got lodged in his gums and split him open and cut him to the point where he had to go have surgery on his mouth.
Jesus.
And so, felony case, of course. So you can make an arrest within a reasonable amount of time. So you take the report, but you've got to maintain your professionalism while arresting this asshole who just punched a 9-year-old baby.
When you really just want to put his face through a plate glass window. Yeah, I can feel you.
You want to run him through every wall of the house.
That's why when the city of Columbia announced that they were hiring both fire and police, I chose fire.
Well, I mean, like,
Yeah, you can go physically kick a fire's ass if you want to. You can't. You gotta keep that composure when you're in law enforcement.
But that's the hardest thing. But not only just for that, for him, then you got to finish your shift, and we worked 12.25-hour shifts, and I wasn't in the best of fucking moods, so I was probably an asshole to every single person I came into contact with that day for the rest of the night. Yeah, and I'm not making an excuse for it, but it's just when you see something like that, you have literally seen some of the worst of humanity, and then you've got to go deal with people, you know. And that's the thing about, like, even with these shootings, it's the worst of humanity that is doing this, and everybody has got to figure out a way to either stop it or come up with something. Like, the FBI can come up with a fucking pamphlet for run, hide, and fight. They can't come up with a pamphlet for how to identify your child or somebody is in crisis, in mental health crisis. Give me a fucking break. You're spending millions of dollars going after parents at school board meetings, but yet you can't come up with something to help try to knock down some of these school shooters or these active shooters or mass shooters. Like, give me a break.
You know what they should do? They should.
Here's the best thing that could happen to get gun violence down in this country.
Yeah. And
it's very simple. You simply prosecute the laws that are already on the books. Like, for the federal government to come in and take a gun case is easy because the ATF controls guns in this country and the registration of firearms. So when somebody who is arrested, who is a felon in possession of a firearm, they don't need an invite to take the case. They can pick the fucking thing up and prosecute it. And those are the ones that are creating the most crimes with guns. But they don't prosecute it. And then they say we have a gun epidemic in this country. No, what they're
leaving it up to the local government to prosecute.
Right. And then they do a third of the sentence and they kick them out of jail for good time.
Yeah.
You know? But with the feds on gun crimes, they have to serve 100% of their sentence. And we don't have a problem with incarceration in our country. That's not a problem. The problem is we're not incarcerating the right fucking ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you can agree with me or not on this, but I've always felt as though that the teachers in the schools should be licensed to carry. I've always felt that ever since Columbine, because I mean that was my high school, and my sister was in that school when it got shot up. So
Columbine was such a different ballgame. You know, cops were not trained to really deal with shootings.
The thing is that
they were using pipe bombs, and I mean they had homemade bombs.
Pipe bombs were out in the parking lot, and they only put them on 2 cars.
Well, no, they used a I think it was a propane tank bomb.
No, it wasn't. It was an actual pipe bomb. It was an actual pipe bomb.
There was one that was used in the school.
Well,
the only reason I knew that was because I saw the video.
So here's the thing about teachers being armed, Steve. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with well-trained teachers having firearms. However, I also don't think that teachers should be required.
No, I agree with that. There should be the teachers who are voluntarily willing to do it. I'm not talking about every teacher, because not every teacher is going to have a backbone to do that.
Right. I think it needs to be. I think it needs to be they need to be well trained, and it needs to be violent. It needs to be voluntary.
I agree with that 100%. I've always felt that way.
They should definitely go through the active shooter training.
I think they should go through. They should go through very similar training as law enforcement on firearms. They need to go through an active shooter response training. I think they need to undergo a psychiatric evaluation.
Yep.
I agree. I agree 100%.
And Wiz has a good point. What if the teacher is in a crisis, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of them right now. They're clearly in crisis. Yeah. They're all over Twitter.
If you gotta go over to the gun safe and pull a gun out, it's going to be a crisis, regardless of what the situation is.
Yeah.
Now, I hate to refer back to it, but in the Columbine situation, downstairs on the main level where the lunchroom is by the main doors, that could have been taken care of right then and there, because right from that point, you got the staircase going up to the second floor, and that's where all the 11th grade area is. Okay. The teachers up there, there's at least, I don't know, 10, 15 classrooms along that main corridor. I mean, you could have had so many teachers out there that could have been armed. But I mean, that whole situation could have been completely different. Especially as Jefferson County, they really did a poor job with that whole situation, in my opinion.
So Hoff disagrees with us on, he thinks that a gun should never cross the threshold of a school. If it's there already, someone will find a way to take it and use it. And that's a fear of mine as well, too, Hoff. I mean, I can't say that there shouldn't be any guns in a school, because what if somebody enters with a gun? You have to have a means of protection for those kids. But I also don't think it needs to be willy-nilly. I can see where you're coming from too, Hoff. I definitely can see where you're coming from. It's like,
I don't want it there, but I need it there.
Right. I don't want guns in schools either.
But you know,
no reason for it. You shouldn't have to do it. But
you know, even countries that have the strictest gun laws have armed police officers at their schools.
There's that too.
And we have, you know, Madison County here in Alabama, we do not have a school resource officer assigned to every single school. Now, they won't tell you which ones are covered and which ones aren't, for obvious safety reasons. But there are some schools that share a resource officer. Resource officers having to cover more than one school.
You know what's funny about that?
That comes down to funding.
You know what's funny about
the sheriff's department, I'm going to tell you right now, the Madison County Sheriff's Department would put on at least one deputy at every school as a resource officer if they had the funding to do it.
Yeah. Because you're not just funding a police officer. You got to fund the equipment in the car.
Yeah, and the training.
Well, hold on now. Here's what I'm getting at with this. The funny thing, at least in Pennsylvania, the sheriffs, not the sheriffs, but the cops who are assigned to the police to the schools out here, they got different types of units. So actually, and I know this because I used to work on their patrol cars at the buy shop out in Pottstown. Okay. So the cars that were assigned to the officers who had the schools that they had to attend to, they would get like Chargers, for example. Those Chargers had no weapons in them at all. The only thing they had in them cars were emergency triangles. That was it. It's like those cops that I know of, unless the gun that on their side was the only thing they had, that vehicle didn't have nothing in it. It was not allowed. It doesn't even have a computer in it. So
that's crazy.
I don't understand why they would do that. That to me makes no sense at all. If you're going to assign a police officer to a school, you need to have.
The whole purpose of a police car is a deterrent. You need all the reflective shit down the sides and the lights on top.
Yeah.
You know, that lets people know there's a cop there. Let me keep fucking driving. You know,
well, and you definitely don't want a police officer to realize, oh shit, I'm backed into a situation where I need a long gun and I wasn't assigned one.
I haven't. Right. Well, see, you know, our department, the sheriff did make a good deal with the county. The county commission agreed to the deal. We provided the deputies through a grant for the schools, and they had the county school board paid for the vehicles and equipment. So, but the sheriff paid for the uniforms, the guns, and all that. Payroll. They just had to pay, right? They just, because it came from a grant. But the county board of education had to pay for the vehicle and to equip it. But they didn't equip it with a cage. So none of the school resource officers' cars had cages. So they were comfortable as shit to drive. But they did. We were able to have enough school resource officers in a county that's pretty rural.
I love it, Hoff.
So Hoff says, let's equip schools with knockout gas. Hit an alarm. Everybody goes down safely, given time for ERT to roll in. I mean,
I love it.
Well, I mean, for real, we've got to something's got to give with school safety, right?
Well, there's a
I'd be
system, I think, that would
willing.
smoke.
I'd be willing to try that out. I also think that every teacher's desk should have some type of a panic
alarm
and door lock.
Yeah.
Like that teacher should be able to immediately slap an alarm to lock her classroom down or his classroom down.
Yeah.
Like we can have them in these little
mag locks on the door.
If we can have them on these little rundown gas stations in the middle of nowhere, man, you can put those little those doors that shoot up really fast.
Oh yeah,
put them in the classrooms.
Will says $25 gas mask on eBay. That's true.
Yeah, stop.
I mean, you can also get body armor, which that's a hell of a lot more expensive than $25. Yeah. But I don't think there's going to be any single one fix.
There's no single good answer
until we start fixing the problems at home and getting people to respect the sanctity of life of other people.
Right.
And that goes into what I was about to say. Here's the thing, like the idea that like we proved with this pandemic, we proved that your kids don't have to go to a building to learn. Like, get rid of public schools.
I think they should. I don't think we should have a Department of Education.
Well, yeah.
I think local schools are great, and I think it creates a good competition. Because when I was in school, I don't think there was nearly as much federal funding for schools, so the teachers actually taught us shit. We had to take tests, and we competed with all the other schools in the state so you could be the smartest school.
Yep, and I can tell you, it's we shouldn't do away with some form of local schools entirely. Like I feel like some of people need interaction with other people, so there needs to be a way to. I'm all for online classes and stuff a lot of the time. I think that you can get a lot of that done without physically going to a school, but I think somehow you also need to work in team sports, some type of social interactions. So it's not strictly just we never show up and socialize with other people. But some type of a hybrid model, I think, may in the long run may be safer for these kids.
I mean, it's cool, bro. I'm in an E-League. That's my sport. I play E-League.
Well, I think like
esports,
esports, bro.
Well, a lot of people don't realize
totally
that churches and faith-based education used to be the thing.
Yeah,
like, I think a lot of people forget that.
My both of my girls went to Amite Baptist preschool and daycare in Watson, Louisiana. And they taught the ABECA program, which was top rated. Like, I mean, my girls came out of preschool, reading, writing, spelling, out of preschool before they ever got to kindergarten. And then they get to the public school kindergarten, and they're trying to teach them their colors. And my daughters are like, "What the fuck?" You know. So I'm all for the faith-based learning. I think they really focus on your kids instead of focusing on the money and the politics.
Well, and the money should follow the kids.
The drag queen story time hour down there.
Yeah, and see, that's why I don't think all teachers should carry guns. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, if I were a teacher in a school and I saw that, I'd probably have to shoot the drag queen. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't want the teacher. I wouldn't want the teacher at my school to have a gun because I was homeschooled.
Oh gosh!
Have y'all seen the ones where there was two drag queens that were wearing skirts, but they weren't wearing nothing underneath, and they were exposing themselves to kids?
Oh my god!
That's happened twice.
If I was a parent and I saw that, I would literally beat the living piss out of that guy.
Oh, so the hell that I would raise at the school would never end, and I would be there every day doing it.
So before we run too long, I am wanting to scale down the time frame on our show. Instead of running closer to 2 hours, I'm going to try to rein it in a little bit more, which means we're probably only going to cover one topic, one main video, and then talk about it, see where it goes from there.
If this goes much longer, I'm going to have to send you an invoice.
Yeah.
You're taking me from the government right now. I'm on government's time.
But I say, however, I do want to show something to drive home a fact that, you know, we talk about this gun violence, and we've been talking about a lot of shootings and stuff that's been happening in large metro areas. You know, we had one we talked about a week or two ago, you know, in Metro Nashville. We're talking about Louisville, Kentucky. Have any of you ever heard of Dadeville, Alabama?
Nah, I had to look it up.
Dadeville?
Dadeville.
Dadeville?
Yeah, I'd never heard of it. I had to look it up. It's kind of close to Montgomery and Auburn.
If you're looking at a map of Alabama and you sneeze, one of those little speckles will land right on it and cover it.
Yeah, they have just over 3,000 people in their population, and it is a town of approximately 16 square miles. Wow. So it is small, and it is not heavily populated.
So everybody knows everyone's business.
Right. However, at a Sweet 16 birthday party last night, around 20 kids were injured in a mass shooting incident, and 4 were pronounced dead on scene.
Wow.
So this is in a town of 3,000 people, 3,000-ish, just a little over 3,000. Not a big metro area where you would more readily expect something like this to happen. Now, I have not seen this video. This video you sent me, Adam, from the Hodge twins, was this filmed at this shooting in Dadeville?
Yeah, it was out. They were outside.
All right, so this is well, let me.
I'll just go ahead and tell you, it ain't pretty. I mean, you're not gonna see gore, but it's still somebody's probably losing a life.
So this comes from the Hodge twins Twitter, and it looks like they got it from Clown World. But let's take a look at it. I have not seen this. I'm going to advise viewer discretion here, because this was filmed during the shooting incident at this Sweet 16 birthday party.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Go top, go! Hey, come on. You know we on. Where's who's that?
Hey, I seen you last night. You video? Oh my God!
Yeah, I don't know if y'all noticed. There's a guy that dropped right there going down that ramp, or those steps on the other side.
So this dude comes out and shooting somebody, and then this girl's gonna be like,
I saw you
nothing happened. Yeah, I saw you last night.
Well, there's one pulling her hair back, like it ain't shit, like it's normal.
Is it in the ghetto?
No, Dadeville's actually not. Dadeville's like
it's a small town.
Yeah, so we played them. I used to play football at Minor High School, which is outside of Birmingham, and we played Dadeville like 2 years in a row. And it's a small town, like it's little.
Yeah. Well, see, and that kid runs back and dumps the gun in the bush. You know what I mean?
Here's a very key statement.
Yeah.
And our Shark Man just said it too.
Yeah.
These kids think life is a fucking video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody was probably just killed there. And I mean, I don't know if that was one of the injured or one that was killed. But what the fuck, man?
Hey,
the Sweet 16, all the gun laws you got on the books, and it still happens. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my God! Oh my God!
Go top, go! Hey, come on. You know we on. Where's who's that?
He's acting like it's nothing. Acting like it's nothing. You know, I hope they catch that kid if they haven't already.
Oh, they will.
And they
Well,
smacked the
town
biggest. Oh my
the town
God!
is the town is so small. The state's taking over their investigation. Like
Yeah.
I think the city asked for.
Yeah, the state did step in. Now I also have quickly. I want to share this. They did give an update. The first press conference that they gave. Did you watch that, Adam?
Yeah, with the trooper giving.
Yeah, with the trooper coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't say a goddamn thing.
Mm-mm.
They didn't come out there and share any actual information other than please don't judge this town by this incident. I don't think there was enough I don't think there was enough transparency on the investigation given at that time. And I understand you can't give everything, but it's almost like the mention of the families was second. It's like keep our officers and our first responders in our town and our community. And, they didn't, the families lost loved ones in this shooting, and they came out and tried to use it as a fucking.
The only thing he did was confirm it was a damn shooting.
Yeah,
they didn't fucking know.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna tell you what we just saw in that video does not look like where the shooting took place. From what I saw,
you don't think so?
No, that was some kind of nice mall.
No, that was something else.
Yeah.
Well, either way,
yeah.
That's. I mean, even if that wasn't the Danvers shooting, the fact that kids can shoot at other people like that without any. That's. Oh my God! Take it easy, Christopher. Kisan, aloha, good to see you. But here's the I have not watched this one because if I'm gonna be pissed at this one, I want it to be live. Okay.
My name's Mike Segrist.
Because their last one
attorney
sucked.
for the 5th Judicial Circuit, which includes Tallapoosa, along with Chambers, Macon, and Randolph counties. What we want to express our sincere gratitude to law enforcement for all the efforts that they've made. And you see all the agencies that have been here and been a part of this, working all through the night and all.
Wrong. First thing you do when you come up to that mic is you ask for thoughts and prayers for the families that have lost their loved ones.
Yeah.
You don't start.
You don't. That same shit that pissed me off during that shooting in Tennessee, where the press secretary came out and did the same shit.
Yeah,
she came out pointing fingers and not.
Yep, there are people who have lost loved ones and their lives are devastated right now.
Yeah,
they don't want to hear about who you want to thank. They want to hear about the fact that you feel for them and that you're going to do your best to bring the perpetrators to justice. That's what they want to hear. They don't want a whole bunch of smoke blown up people's asses. They don't want a whole bunch of puffing up your chest about the good job you did, even if you did do a good job. But here's the thing. From my understanding is this shooting was over and done with before the cops got there. This was not an active shooter. We're going to go in and have to take somebody out kind of situation. People were shot. They hauled ass. Now they're trying to figure out who did it. Right. This is where the real police work comes in on the investigative side of it instead of the physical shots fired side of it.
I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I'm going to bet good money that there was multiple shooters just by the sheer number of people that were injured. And
I would imagine. So
it's going to be.
I know there's some questions about the number of victims that we have, and Aaliyah will be providing some information about that shortly and about the number of victims that are involved in this. We are here to serve the victims. Our office has a website, www.fifthcircuitda.org. That's www.fifthcircuitda.org. There's a specific tab on there for victim services. It includes information about the victims' compensation fund and things of that nature. And the victims and the family of victims may contact our office directly also, but can also do that through this website. Because of the size of this, we're fortunate to have both victim service officers from the Federal Bureau of Investigations, as well as the Office of Prosecutorial Services in Montgomery.
But you know what I do find odd with this one, though?
What's that?
Is that quickly, not only, and I understand it's a small town, I can understand getting the sheriff's department and Aaliyah. But that quickly, we've got the FBI and the ATF involved.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
There's some other shit here. There's something deeper to this.
Yeah.
Well, they probably came out of that field office in Dayton. I mean, not Dayton, but
in Montgomery.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here. I'm looking at the location on Google Maps.
Yeah.
Yeah. That video was not. That was something like. Yeah. If I had a way to show you, I would. It just.
Okay.
There's definitely something deeper. There's something much more deeper to this case in Danville. So we're gonna wait. We may come circle back to this Dadeville shooting on our next show once there's a little more info, because it sounds like they're gonna be pretty tight-lipped on this one. And the fact that the ATF and FBI are already involved this early in it makes me think that this goes way deeper than just somebody walked up and shot in a crowd.
They've never been involved in anything crazy that had to do with anything in Texas before or anything. So what's the worst?
Well, usually for them to be involved in a case that's a state or local issue, there has to be an invite.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe they were invited. I mean, that's the thing. It's like right now they're not really given enough information to really do anything with. It's all a whole bunch of smoke screen and strutting your feathers kind of thing.
They got a lot of resources that state and local law enforcement are not allowed to have.
Yeah.
And maybe it's finally the federal government is like, okay, we're going to step in. We're going to start helping y'all with all these shootings that are happening, because and I hope like hell, like you say, Adam, maybe the federal government will start prosecuting some of these gun crimes like this, so that they can end some of this shit, because you can't go to the grocery store safely anymore. You never know if you're going to get shot. There's some places people are getting shot that I never would have thought in a million years would happen. Church. School.
Well, you saw that one.
Stores.
But not just schools. They're going after the young
little kids. Little bitty kids.
Did you see that one video? It was surveillance camera in a church where an active shooter walked into the church with a gun, and he fired one shot, and everybody in the church pulled their guns out and shot the guy and killed him.
No, that sounds like a Texas church.
Oh yeah, it was Texas.
We were talking about it at Waffle House after.
I think that happened either in the same. Somehow they tried to prosecute that guy.
But you know what? I'm wondering.
They did.
All right, so that was probably at a Baptist church, and I bet that was probably. I bet that was later Brooklyn. I bet that was probably the one time that the pastor cut his sermon short, and the Baptist beat the Methodists to the Waffle House and the Ryans.
And they tried prosecuting the guy, but he got off.
I'm going to call bullshit because there is no Ryans anymore.
Well, I'll tell you, like around here, I know that churches have, like the deacons of the church, a lot of those guys are carrying.
Yeah, there are a lot of
security teams.
Yeah, there are now security teams at a lot of churches, and it's sad that we've come to that point. So I want to stop us here before we get too deep off into anything else, and I want to let everybody know that this next Sunday, April the 23rd. I will be on my way back from Mississippi, where my granddaughter's having her birthday party. So we're not going to be having a show next Sunday, just in case I don't make it back in time. I don't want to run the risk of something happening and it's sitting there pending and y'all are waiting. So we're not going to have a show next week. But we should make it. What's the matter, Stacy? You mad about it? Stacy's upset.
Easter comes around and the guy has to skip 1 week. Now he thinks, we're just going to skip.
Yeah. Well, Easter and my granddaughter's birthday. I mean, I got to have a few priorities there.
Yeah,
but
them poor kids, you took all their candy.
That's right. What's up, Chris Talbert? Good to see you, brother. But I do want to try to keep start keeping our show to an hour and a half or less, targeting closer to an hour if possible. So make sure that you're tuning in at the beginning, because we're not going to run past an hour and a half or so much anymore. John Wayne, what's going on? Good to see you. No show. Mr. Reed said he gets mad every time it's postponed. No show next Sunday. But I'll keep y'all filled in in the on what's going on. I'll still be sharing different things that are going on our Twitter and our Facebook page and on the community page on YouTube and in Discord. So make sure y'all a reject rewind next week. Lord have mercy.
Hey, don't set me. I'll get StreamYard.
Yes, but I do appreciate you three fellas joining me again on this Sunday, and I hope y'all have a fine rest of your Sunday. Thank you to all of those watching there at home. Feel free, if you want to continue the conversation, feel free to comment, on the video after the live has posted, and you can post comments. Your feedback is welcome, whether we agree with you or not, whether you agree with us or not. Do the same on our Facebook page, our Twitter, and come hang out with us in Discord if you want to. That's going to do it for us, y'all. Everybody have a good one, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Bye, everybody.
See y'all later.
Bye-bye, y'all.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the night inning. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. Out on stage, here on screen. Okay, it's a dream, and I pray as a team. One day it'll be me. If I want it, then I'll get it. Head down, don't regret it. Push myself to the